Some of you seem to have figured out my intro Easter eggs. Well then, what do you make of this one? Here's a harsh truth for your Monday lunch break. Sometimes a game just sucks. No pun intended. It's not as common in the AAA scene, where the worst thing a game can be is a little buggy, predatory, unoptimized, and generic, but still manage a 6 out of 10 review score. The sheer amount of talent and money that circulates in the higher division guarantees even AAA turds are shinier than the average game development caca. So when a big-name developer or publisher releases a 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10, or God forbid 4 out of 10 game, the vocal disappointment is near deafening. In the case of Redfall, the conversation has moved past the topic of quality. The riled-up populace demands accountability. Whose fault is this? Who's to blame? How could you? And it's all a ruse. I think there's problems with perception and expectations from the consumer side, but I don't pity Johnny AAA, because I'm tired of playing their blame game. The first problem is perception. There's a negative attitude towards games that are just average, which is a shame because the average game is average. But the spotlight nature of the video game industry means the unremarkable games are left out in the dark. The average consumer mostly sees the curated, the well-advertised, the well-received, and the highly anticipated games that float to the top of the pile, be it indie or AAA. Even the remarkably bad games that end up at the top of Steam's worst-rated games list like Flat Out 3 can strike up a conversation, and E.T. the Extraterrestrial gets Wikipedia pages to archive its life, death, and landfill burial. This is Hollywood ugly, the Steve Buscemi's of the gaming world. Considering Redfall to be the bottom of the barrel is to live a sheltered life, there's another barrel under that barrel, and it's filled with remarkably unremarkable strings of code I'd sooner call unseasoned malware than video games. I can't even bring myself to name these games or show footage because YouTube has rules against online bullying. Unfortunately, the perception problem isn't one that will go away anytime soon because no one wants to make content that no one wants to watch or talk about simply for the sake of expanding the horizons of their audience. Not even me. The second problem is expectations, fan expectations especially. Redfall has its issues. I could drone on about how the game drones on with hollow immersive sim elements, shoddy gunplay, and the most uninspired looter-shooter system I've played in recent memory, but I'll let the big guy tell you all about that. Truth be told, I kinda felt myself having fun with the jank for a few minutes, so that's worth something. Being generic and a bit dull yet functional is par for the course, except Redfall ain't fully functioning. The AI, which is a major focus of the game, is remarkably terrible. I kid you not, sometimes enemies shoot each other point blank mid-gunfight before correcting themselves. But given everything I've played, everything I've seen in the shadows, it's still a relative 4 out of 10, milk it for a few meme compilations on social media and move on with my life kind of game based on its own merits in a vacuum. But Redfall doesn't get to be in a vacuum. It gets to sit atop a mountain molded by molehill upon molehill of expectations. For starters, it's a AAA game with a $70 price tag at launch, implying a certain level of competence is to be expected. It's developed by Arcane Studios, who are most notable for creating Deathloop, Dishonored 1 and 2, and Prey, furthering the implied competence in regards to the immersive sim genre. It's published by Bethesda Softworks, the very ones that published Fallout 3 and onwards, Elder Scrolls, and the newer Dooms. That same publisher was recently acquired by Microsoft, which makes Redfall the console-exclusive champion sent to represent Xbox in the gladiator pit against the likes of PlayStation's exclusive champion, God of War Ragnarok, and Nintendo's exclusive champion, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Redfall was sent out to die for Starfield. I, a man who had zero expectations for Redfall, am only marginally disappointed. People who had higher expectations suffered a greater fall due to the emotional displacement. But we want something tangible to point our fingers at. Reason 3, let's blame the consumers. Stop pre-ordering bad games. Stop buying bad games. Stop hoping. Stop dreaming. The reality is no one cashes in their paycheck and sets out to buy bad video games. My savvy consumerism dogma only works in good faith. If all the marketing is misleading and the hype cycle's exaggerated, then you can't have an informed opinion on a product upon release date. To a certain degree. Making a trend-chasing live service multiplayer game was a red flag for Redfall, and Fallout 76, and Anthem, and Marvel's Avengers, and Suicide Squad. But there's no way anyone could have predicted that Arcane Studios, a studio known for making single-player immersive sims, wouldn't get it right either. Reason 4, let's blame the developers themselves, the ones who made the game. Except no self-respecting developer wakes up every day to crunch week after week and delay their release so they can have more time to make sure every last square inch of their game is thoroughly soaked in kerosene. before they use it to set light to the reputation they worked so hard to build over the last 2 decades. For 5, let's include the publishers that pressure deadlines and try to make their investors their money back any way they can. 6, the out-of-touch investors themselves that replace creativity for penny-pinching dead trends to make a quick buck. 7, Phil Spencer, the Microsoft gaming CEO who's laid his soul bare to the public. 8, Al Gore for inventing the internet, and 9, my mama for birthing me. Ultimately, it doesn't matter who we scapegoat if nothing changes. What is needed is action. The kind of action Satoru Iwata, the former CEO of Nintendo, was known for. He and his co-workers consistently pushed forward innovation that led to extraordinary success during the days of the DS and the Wii, but they weren't perfect by any means. The 3DS and the Wii U missed the mark and caused the company to flounder. Sometimes your ideas just don't work. In response to the failed reception, Mr. Iwata halved his salary in 2011 and 2014, and other higher-ups received reduced pay by 20% to 30% so the hard workers on the ground floor would be provided for during the hard times. They rolled up their sleeves, patched up the holes, and the Nintendo ship has been sailing smoothly in its Switch era because action gets the job done. Nowadays, Phil Spencer laments the Xbox One's inability to keep up during a critical point in the console wars. He expresses surprise that the mock reviewers allegedly assured him Redfall would be better received. He sits on his hands and says things like, "We're not in the business of out-consoling Sony or out-consoling Nintendo. There isn't really a great solution for us." So he reassures us with the promise that cloud gaming and optimized games will be the focus. By posing the answer to the question, who's to blame for this mess? Phil Spencer keeps the media right where he needs them. Let the public muse and argue over the questions you want and keep them from asking the important questions. Like, is it okay for AAA to release games in this state for $70 while also offering it for $10? Does Game Pass make it okay? No, it doesn't. That's like saying it's okay to release a game in a broken state because the modders will fix it. It's okay to release a game like this because it's better with friends. It's just another consumer excuse for the people who think they're the ones coming out on top, provided by AAA itself. All that to distract from the real question, what's AAA gonna do about it, and how are they gonna do it? Because we are now sandwiched between 2 slice promises of things will be better. The hype cycle promises things will be better than they are, and the apology cycle promises things will be better than they are. Meanwhile, nothing actually changes if we waste our time bouncing off of both points and playing the blame game. Perception is a problem. Expectations are a problem. Apologies are nice, but apologies without action are hollow.